Whoa, wasn't that just amazing? My name is Ginny Caroselli, and I will be your Zoom meeting moderator this evening. Before we get started, let's take care of a couple housekeeping things because we're in a Zoom meeting, not a Zoom webinar. A Zoom meeting allows us to be more interactive with each of you. Now, first of all, by default, your sound is muted. To start your video, press here. Please keep in mind, everything within the view of your camera will be seen by everyone. Then to access chat, simply press here and then click here to open the chat window. Feel free to post any questions in the chat window, and at the conclusion of the presentation, we will do our best to answer questions. Now, I'm going to introduce 5 terms that we will be using tonight. The first term is subclinical. Here's an example. Yesterday, you thought you were fine. You went to work, you had lunch with friends, you went home, you had dinner with family, went to bed. Yesterday, no wellness issues were seen, felt, or obvious. You could not foresee tomorrow. Yesterday, you did not have clinical symptoms. 2, today you went to work, you had lunch with a friend. Boom, you have a heart attack. Today, you now have clinical manifestations of cardiovascular disease. Today, your symptoms are now clinical symptoms as they are seen, felt, and obvious. Homeostasis. This is our body's effort to keep everything in balance. Bioavailable is another term. I will use an example of accidentally swallowing a button off of your shirt. The body cannot absorb the button. The bioavailability of the button is 0. Bioavailable means the ability of the body to absorb. Pay close attention to 2 key terms as we dig further into this presentation. Water soluble and bioavailable go together. Water soluble can be absorbed. Non-water soluble is not bioavailable. Non-water soluble cannot be absorbed. And our last term is systemic. This means affecting the entire body rather than just a single organ or body part. Currently, ZOI Global does not make the claim of crossing the blood-brain barrier. Stay tuned, friends. Stay tuned. After tonight, you will surely gain a much better understanding of the problem that no one can avoid. You will gain a much better understanding of the value of the solution to reverse the problem, and then you will be in a position to make your best wellness decision. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Denise Stephens, the co-founder and CEO of ZOI Global. She's a highly skilled software engineer, so she has the smarts, and I'm sure you'll feel her huge heart and her passion. Take it away, Denise.
Thank you so much, Jenny. I truly appreciate the time that you're spending with people this evening. You're invaluable to ZOI Global, and you've spent a life helping other people. Hello, friends, and welcome to this very important information being presented in this Zoom meeting. Now, at ZOI Global, we are very, very aware that the information we're going to present to you this evening may not be known by you today. It may not be understood by you today. And the need to support your body's wellness now versus waiting until later may not be fully known or understood by you today. At ZOI Global, we understand that until a person understands the problem, typically they don't solve the unknown, the unfelt, and the unaware problem until they're backed into a corner. In other words, sadly, most of the time it takes trouble coming for people to change. At ZOI Global, we don't want to leave anything to chance. So you may be asking, who is ZOI Global? ZOI Global is the exclusive global distributor of a line of high-quality nutraceutical formulations that are proven capable of crossing cellular membranes to deliver breakthrough systemic solutions using the safest and highest bioavailability benefits to consumers. What you're on the verge of learning is very, very rare, if not non-existent, in the nutraceutical industry. Like Jenny said, at the conclusion, I believe you're going to see that ZOI Global may very well have one of the most important dietary supplements in your lifetime. ZOI Global is powered by a world-class partnership with a stellar supplier named Metron Nutraceuticals located in Cleveland, Ohio. Metron Nutraceuticals was founded by Dr. Nicholas Sirikos Karapanos. By the way, at ZOI Global, affectionately, we refer to him as Dr. Nicholas. Dr. Nicholas is a triple board certified pharmacist, medical doctor, cardiovascular surgeon, and is president of Metron Nutraceuticals. Dr. Nicholas is the innovator and brilliant mind behind all of ZOI Global's formulations that we distribute, and ZOI Global is the exclusive global distributor of these Metron formulations. Dr. Nicholas has a very impressive biography, friends. He was born in Greece, where he graduated from the School of Pharmacy and the School of Medicine, and he earned his PhD at the University of Athens. In 2007, Dr. Nicholas was recruited by Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. He served for 5 years at Mayo Clinic and gained global recognition as the brilliant mind behind the discovery of quantitative coronary flow analysis, where he was helping to save lives during open heart surgery and lung surgery. Dr. Nicholas is the recipient of outstanding and very highly respected honors in the field of cardiothoracic surgery. In 2010, Dr. Nicholas earned the European Society of Thoracic Surgeons Grillo Award. And in 2011, Dr. Nicholas earned the Robert Emory Award. Dr. Nicholas has 16 peer-reviewed publications that are published in PubMed. Dr. Nicholas is a highly demonstrated pioneer in the field of cardiothoracic surgery, as he worked nonstop in that field to save lives. So Dr. Nicholas broadened his horizons from the very strict field of heart and lung surgery, where he was able to help 1 to 2 persons per day, and entered the domain of health and wellness by building an innovative systemic delivery system breakthrough, where he had the capacity now to help millions of people every day. Currently, Dr. Nicholas holds 3 granted U.S. patents for his innovative systemic zeolite delivery system breakthrough that solves very big problems in today's world. Additionally, Dr. Nicholas is the owner of 2 granted international patents, one in Japan and one in Russia. Dr. Nicholas is the owner of 1 published patent in Hong Kong and has patent pending applications in Canada, Korea, and the 28 countries in the European Union. So what does this mean to each of you on this webinar this evening? What it means to you is that ZOI Global has a proven, innovative technology, and no one else may have access to it. ZOI's innovative technology is secured through December 31st, 2034. And currently, we expect that to be locked down beyond December 31, 2034. So now let's jump into the problem that this innovative breakthrough solves. The problem is called chronic environmental toxicity. This evening, Lori Lee, registered dietitian from New Jersey, is going to guide our understanding regarding the chronic environmental toxicity problem. Lori has a 30-plus year registered dietitian practice, and week in and week out, Lori helps patients navigate this very serious problem. Lori, I want to thank you for dedicating your time this evening to helping our guests understand the magnitude of this problem. Welcome to the meeting, Lori.
Thank you, Denise, for the honor of presenting at this breakthrough workshop. You know, day in and day out, I help patients achieve optimal wellness. But my passion is to solve simple and complex wellness problems in the shortest possible time. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here to share this true scientific breakthrough. So, you know, your body may be communicating with you like the automobile's check engine light communicates a mechanical issue with your automobile. Now, I want you to pay attention to these warnings, because they may turn into serious problems if ignored, much like our cars. And here we see, and maybe many of you may be experiencing some of these things like headaches, memory loss, skin problems, poor sleep, and even GI issues. These are all serious warnings, folks, and they are not normal and they should not be ignored. So let's take a quick look at how unavoidable environmental toxins are in our world today. Have you ever heard of something called forever chemicals? Have you ever heard of PFAS? Well, for example, they are in shampoos, paint, nonstick cookware, for example. But look at this. Are you okay? Ask yourself this question. Are you okay with these forever chemicals being a part of you forever? Seriously, organic baby food? Our most vulnerable babies. In February of 2021, the United States Congress announced 95% of baby foods were tainted with dangerous levels of lead, cadmium, arsenic, and mercury. Now, does your dentist still use mercury fillings? If you don't know, folks, what you don't know may harm you. Ask the question. Mercury toxicity is still prevalent, with many dentists still using mercury in dental work today. Now, are you aware that more than 1/3 of your daily calories contain something called acrylamide, which is classified as a probable human carcinogen? United States food labels now display Proposition 65 warnings regarding acrylamide contamination. So please pay attention to your food labels. Now, have you heard of nuclear plant disasters? Are you aware since Fukushima nuclear plant disaster in March 2011, radioactive water has been leaking into the Pacific Ocean with massive amounts to be released from holding tanks in 2022. This means that the fish are mutating and we are consuming genetically altered seafood containing radioactive material. Now let's look at this glass of water. Ask yourself this question. Is this a simple glass of water or an invisible toxic cocktail of cancer-linked chemicals? As of November 3rd, 2021, the Environmental Working Group revealed contamination from toxins like arsenic, lead, and forever chemicals called PFAS in drinking water of tens of millions of households across all 50 United States. We just can't avoid toxins. They are contained in the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water that we drink. Friends, even foods labeled organic are loaded with toxins. Isn't this image shocking? Yet, you know what? It is so true. The impact of environmental toxins cannot be underemphasized. It begins before birth in the womb from the moment of conception. So in 2004, a total of 287 chemical substances were found in the umbilical cords of newborn babies harboring pesticides, consumer product ingredients, and waste from burning coal, gasoline, and even garbage. Now, of the 287 chemicals detected, 180 cause cancer, 217 are toxic to the brain and nervous system, and 208 cause birth defects or abnormal development. Now, I have an update for you. In 2020, the EWG.org reported a study showing over 400 toxins, that's 400 toxins in umbilical cord blood of newborns, including lead, which is a neurotoxic metal. That means of the brain, affecting the brain. So the impact of environmental toxins is real and it's negatively affecting our wellness, and they're especially harmful to our cell powerhouse. That is called the mitochondria. Toxins are absolutely known to disrupt something called the biochemical pathways in our body. Most harmful toxins are these environmental toxins that are water soluble and capable of crossing the cellular membranes. So the toxins' major threats include carcinogens and substances that are affecting our heart, which is our cardiovascular system, our hormones, which is our endocrine system, and our respiratory functions. So toxins are disrupting our body's ability to maintain something called homeostasis or balance.
Wow, Lori, that's incredible. And you know, once toxins are inside the body, they enter the lungs and the gut by crossing our cellular membranes. So they actually wreak havoc over time. So the problem with chronic subclinical toxicity with heavy metals and other environmental toxins is that these toxins interfere with that homeostatic mechanisms and make our resistances actually less strong. And that's a quote directly from Dr. Nicholas here.
You know, Jenny, absolutely, this is amazingly true. When our resistances are less strong, our body may be more vulnerable to attack. So I want you to remember something. Our immunity is our protection. You know, friends, I want you to really understand this. Toxins are accumulating in every organ and every tissue, but predominantly, toxins are accumulating and hiding in the fat tissues, the bone tissues, and the brain tissues of our body. You know, have you heard the term GMO? Well, really, it should be OMG. GMO stands for genetically modified organisms, and that means the genetic code of plants and animals has been altered, and your body cannot metabolize GMO foods. They are actually foreign to our body. So here's 14 examples of the most common GMO foods in our world today. Eating these GMO foods totally contributes to this toxicity we're talking about, but it's at the cellular level. Now I'm going to talk about the top 7 toxins that weaken our immunity and our immune system. Have you heard of GMO toxicity by glyphosate? What is that? Glyphosate is the most widely produced chemical in the world, and it acts to weaken our immune system. It has been used to create GMO foods since 1995, and it's used in the 14 crops in the United States that I just showed you. So here's the problem. Many bacteria may be susceptible to glyphosate, which then compromises our gut health in not only animals, but in humans. So this is a big problem here. We have over 125,000 pending lawsuits right here in the United States. And this is key, 64 nations have banned GMOs, not the United States. Why not? Now, you know what? Remember those forever chemicals that we mentioned earlier in the presentation? Well, remember, I asked you a question. Are you good with these staying in your body long term? That's the question. You know, I can't stress enough the harm from glyphosate toxicity. I'd love you to ask your ZOI advisor to provide ZOI's 3-part series to you entitled Glyphosate, the Herbicide You Must Know. Let's go into the next toxin, mold and mycotoxin toxicity. This is a big area, and as you can see from this slide, mold is found in specific types of fungi-like mold. Some of the most common types of toxins are mycotoxins, and they grow under warm, very warm, hot, and even damp conditions. They colonize on wallpaper, ceiling tiles, fiberglass insulation, and they may infest buildings, vehicles, and even certain foods like cereals, breads, nuts, dried fruits, spices, and coffee is a very big one. They are very chemically stable, and they're able to survive food processing. Now, I have an update for you. Recently, it's been proven that mycotoxins may contribute to something called SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You might have heard of that. Let's talk about phthalate toxicity. This is a group of chemicals that are extremely toxic and weaken the immunity as well. They are used in a wide variety of products, from cosmetics to toys to wall coverings, even pharmaceuticals. They're used right in your own home. Nail polish, think about your hairspray, aftershave lotion, soaps, shampoos, and that perfume you might be wearing. Now, according to a 2010 environmental health perspective study, they were shown to increase the risk of breast cancer. There was an indication of that. And phthalates are pervasive in just about every aspect of our daily lives. Have you heard heavy metals toxicity? What is that? These are metallic chemical elements that are toxic or poisonous, even at the lowest of concentrations. Examples of heavy metals include mercury. You've heard of that, cadmium, arsenic, aluminum, thallium, and of course, we've all heard of lead. Heavy metal toxicity generates something called free radicals, which contribute to premature, or what I like to call rapid aging, commonly called oxidative stress. And they may contribute to the damage of our DNA. That's our genetic code. They also may contribute to cancer cell formation, as well as neurotoxicity, which you heard me before talk about brain toxicity. They are seriously dangerous. And you know what? We should not have any heavy metals in our body, zero. The next toxin I want to talk about is organophosphates. These are known as OPs, and they are chemically substances with toxic effects. And what does that mean? These date back way to the 1930s. They were actually utilized as insecticides. And even during World War II, they were developed into neurotoxins by the German military, which, folks, that is a bioweapon. Now, the next toxin is the xylene. Xylene category is huge. They're used as solvents. They're used as raw material for the manufacturing of things like films and dyes, fibers, aviation fuel, gasoline. It goes on and on. Now, they may irritate our eyes, our skin, and our lungs. So when we inhale them, they may lead to symptoms like headaches and nausea, drowsiness, sleepiness, and dizziness. And serious exposure may cause irregular heartbeat, sleepiness, even stumbling, fainting, and even death. So toxicity from xylene is persistent when these solvents are inhaled into the lungs. The human body does not know how to reverse these solvents, toxins on its own. So there they go again. They get stored in those areas, those three compartments, the brain, the bones, and then the fatty tissue for life. Now, the next toxin category is really based on a bacterial cell. That's where they're found. They're released as the cell disintegrates, and they often result from the bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine or from a condition called sepsis, which is very deadly. They may be released from candida, which is overgrowth of yeast, and parasites, resulting in very complex health issues. And really, they may cause your gut major problems, which may lead to many inflammatory conditions of the gut and, of course, of the whole body. You know, at ZOI Global, we have a very helpful resource entitled The 7 Phases of Toxicity. Chronic environmental toxicity may not be accurately diagnosed and or treated for many years. I know many of you watching can relate to that. Please understand that inflammation is the underlying cause of most wellness conditions, and so are toxins.
Friends, the entire information that was just conveyed to each of you may be summed up by this brilliant quote by our ZOI formulator, Dr. Nicholas Sirikos Karapanos. Detoxing should no longer be considered as an option. The need for detoxing may be ignored because chronic subclinical toxicity is unseen, unfelt, and not obvious. When it does become obvious after clinical symptoms appear, at that point, it may be too difficult to overcome. I'm so excited for each of you because you are on the verge of incredible hope.
You know, Jenny, hope is exactly what we offer at ZOI Global. Thank you so much, ladies. You did a fabulous job explaining a very significant problem that no one can avoid. So friends, here's where ZOI Global is very, very different. At ZOI Global, we're not going to just sit around and talk about a problem. We're now going to move and start down the path toward introducing our proven, and let me repeat, proven solutions. Remember, friends, we told you in the beginning that Dr. Nicholas is a PharmD first. Remember, in the cardiovascular domain, Dr. Nicholas discovered a life-impacting solution. Now, with all of his skill and all of these qualifications, Dr. Nicholas is writing the book about zeolite science in the health and wellness domain. Dr. Nicholas is a game-changing formulator in the domain of nutraceuticals, and he has the credentials to do things right. So let's start with an understanding what is a zeolite. A zeolite is a honeycomb-like 3D configuration structure. They have heavy metals, and heavy metals are part of the zeolite structure just by nature. The zeolite attracts heavy metals and other toxins via cation exchange. And a very oversimplified example of this may be a magnet. A zeolite retains heavy metals and other toxins. This image shows the origin of the word zeolite. Zeo meaning I boil, and light meaning stone, so boiling stone. This is a depiction of the point of formation of a zeolite. Zeolites are formed when volcanic lava meets seawater. Now let's go through the zeolite historical limitations and usage. Up to Dr. Nicholas's discovery, zeolites were non-water soluble, making them unable to follow toxins to, remember, like Lori said, those predominant hiding places: bone tissue, brain tissue, and fat tissue. Remember, up to now, when a zeolite was mixed with water, it formed what's called a suspension. It had limited or no absorption by the GI system, had limited bioavailability. The body couldn't use it, making it not effective. It has been used for decades in several filtration applications, and it's used in several heavy-duty industrial applications, just like Lori talked about in some of those radioactive material spills. Also, it has been used for making nutraceutical products. Let me show you an example of an ancient zeolite application usage. These are Roman aqueducts. Basically, this was an ancient water filtration system. And if you want to see the magnitude, check this out. This is how plentiful the aqueducts were used in the early Roman times. So those early Romans knew the power of the filtration of the zeolite. Fortunately, on April 1st, 2012, the Food and Drug Administration granted GRAS status to sodium aluminosilicate. Sodium aluminosilicate is commonly called zeolite. Scientists have long known that the zeolite is a very powerful absorbent and a very powerful binder of heavy metals and toxins that, like Lori's talked about, we are exposed to every single day. There are over 300 peer-reviewed publications depicting the benefits of zeolite, and the benefits of zeolite are very well established, but they had one significant limitation. Remember, they were not water soluble. So Dr. Nicholas, again, being a pharmacist, asked one very significant question: can a zeolite be water soluble? This is why this question is so significant, because up to this point, zeolite products had never been able to pass through the barrier of the cell membrane, gain access to the inner cell so that it could chase toxins inside the cell where they love to hide. Remember, brain tissue, bone tissue, and fat tissue. On April 25th, 2017, Dr. Nicholas Sirikos Karapanos was granted the world's first water-soluble zeolite United States patent. Finally, friends, finally, we have a proven solution to reverse the chronic toxins accumulation process that has taken years.
Wow, Denise and friends, like here's what's going on. And here is what Dr. Nicholas knew. He is a PharmD, MD cardiovascular surgeon. You know that now. And this is what he said. Heavy metals and environmental toxins toxicity is a factor or a cofactor, a common denominator for many wellness problems because heavy metals and environmental toxins interfere with many biochemical pathways in our body, influencing the function or the malfunctions of many of our systems. Here we go. Reversing chronic heavy metals and environmental toxins accumulation can support almost every subdomain of your overall wellness. Thank you, Dr. Nicholas.
Yes, Jenny. Yes. Now it's making more sense, isn't it? So Dr. Nicholas, a triple board certified pharmacist, medical doctor, and cardiovascular surgeon, he was well aware of the chemical reactions inside of our bodies, and he understood that the zeolite had to be water soluble so it could get inside the cell to ever begin to reverse or reduce this chronic environmental toxicity problem. Friends, we have to understand this. This is big. Biochemical reactions are driving all of our body functions. Every muscle contraction, food digestion, cardiovascular system function, respiration, brain function, all of our body functions are directed and regulated by biochemical reactions. Sadly, these biochemical reactions in our body and in our cells, they're under that constant environmental toxin attack, and they have been that way since 9 months before our birth, and the attack continues every single day of our life. So, like you said, Jenny, reducing the impact of environmental toxins attack to our biochemical reactions may significantly improve our wellness. This is what he understood very, very well. So you're never going to be able to unsee the difference in the water-soluble zeolite on the left-hand side, which is in the ZOI formulations, versus the pile of zeolite in the non-water-soluble zeolite that stay and work only in the gut, and sadly, very minimally at that. Guys, the zeolite and ZOI formulations are proven capable of traveling where no other zeolite has ever been able to travel. So now let's understand how the world's only water-soluble zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops does its job. The zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops has zeolite cages. Remember, all zeolites must be cleaned because heavy metals are naturally part of the zeolite structure. So after the zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops is cleaned from what's called elemental impurities, these cages will remain empty. The cages remain empty to attract and bind toxins that reverses the chronic accumulation of toxins like heavy metals, herbicides, and pesticides that Lori described for you. This is making sense, right? So now let's understand the significance of vitamin C being connected to the zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops. Vitamin C is one of the most powerful antioxidants that every single one of us have known all of our lives. Our grandmothers, our mothers constantly told us to drink our orange juice, right? The zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops is connected with vitamin C for a very, very significant reason. Remember, Dr. Nicholas is a pharmacist first. So what's this big deal about vitamin C and the zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops? Well, every single one of us have what's called endothelial cells. Our endothelial cells are practically everywhere in our body. Our endothelial cells have vitamin C receptors. Again, remember, the zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops are connected with vitamin C. The zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops is directed to the endothelial cells' vitamin C receptors. This is the game changer, friends, in the zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops, because every other zeolite under every other product is a zeolite water suspension. And see how it settles? That makes it capable of only staying and working in the gut, period. The green body image on the left reflects the power of the zeolite in ZOI ClearDrops. See how it's proven capable of crossing cell membranes to enter circulation and chase toxins all over the body. The red body image on the right shows that the toxin chasing limitations of every other zeolite on the planet. Every other zeolite, friends, is 100% incapable of entering circulation, and it is only limited to staying and working in the gut. So I want you to imagine this. You discover your entire home is infested with termites. Would you choose a solution that would exterminate every room in the house, like on the left, Or would you choose to treat only the bathroom of the house, like on the right? By now, I think the choice is very obvious. In the zeolite space, friends, every other zeolite treats only the bathroom, the gut. This image, friends, is your game changer. Metron Nutraceuticals, ZOI Global's world-class supplier, went on an unprecedented extra mile to prove to you, the consumer, that ZOI ClearDrops crosses cellular membranes. The ZOI Systemic Action Validation Standard of Proof is called a pharmacokinetic study. The PAMPA portion of the pharmacokinetic study determines whether or not a compound can even be absorbed. Guys, this is the same study that is performed on every drug in a pharmacy. Do you understand how big this is in the dietary supplement or nutraceutical market space? At ZOI Global, we don't make nonsense claims. We just show you the proof. Remember earlier, friends, when we learned what a zeolite was, and I told you repeatedly that a zeolite has heavy metals as part of its structure? Well, just like Hippocrates stated centuries ago, first, do no harm. At ZOI Global, we are 10 to 15 years ahead of regulatory standards for production and for testing, and we do so at only the highest standards. Let me explain how big this is. Every dietary supplement liquid formulation must be tested for the presence of 4 free heavy metals: arsenic, cadmium, mercury, and lead. Sadly, many dietary supplement formulations don't even meet this minimal requirement. On the flip side, pharmaceutical liquid formulations must be tested for the presence of 24 free heavy metals. Your concentration form of ZOI ClearDrops is tested for 69 free heavy metals. The final ClearDrops product that you will put in your body is tested beyond pharmaceutical standards because it is tested for the presence of 29 free heavy metals. ZOI products are made in an FDA and Ohio Department of Agriculture inspected facility, which means they are operating under CGMP, meaning Current Good Manufacturing Process Standards. First, Metron's first FDA inspection was on September 15, 2017. Why are we not surprised? It passed with no action initiated. The Ohio Department of Agriculture inspected Metron twice, again, with no actions initiated on either of the 2 inspections. This is very, very big. Because ZOI Global products are manufactured in an FDA-inspected facility under CGMP standards, you can rely on the accuracy of ZOI Global's product label at all times. This is a very significant regulatory component and fails miserably, friends, with many zeolite competitors. I want you to understand one thing: ZOI has 0 competition. By now, I hope you're beginning to see why very early on I stated that I truly believe that ZOI ClearDrops is one of the most important dietary supplements ever made because it can impact many aspects of our wellness. Now, I want to move on and show you further how Dr. Nicholas is writing the book about zeolite science. We are now focused on showing you how the zeolite used in ZOI formulations is being able to act as a transporter of other substances inside the cell. Just like ZOI ClearDrops, it makes sense that the zeolite in ZOI ClearSleep has zeolite cages as well. Again, remember, the zeolite must be clean because heavy metals are naturally part of the zeolite structure. That's why I just showed you our cleaning results. After ZOI ClearDrops are cleaned, the ZOI zeolite cages in the ClearSleep are loaded with L-tryptophan and L-theanine. Now that we have loaded with L-tryptophan and L-theanine, the zeolite in ZOI ClearSleep is directed to the endothelial cells' vitamin C receptors so that we can help people with nighttime sleep. Here is the label of the ZOI ClearSleep product. And again, operating in a CGMP lab, you can be assured that our ZOI ClearSleep label is 100% accurate. At ZOI Global, we currently have 2 systemic formulations that we just spent significant time discussing, ZOI ClearDrops and ZOI ClearSleep. Make no mistake, friends, at ZOI Global, we have an entire future line of systemic delivery system formulas that are going to help solve problems for people using our breakthrough water-soluble zeolite technology. Lori, will you please offer to help our friends on this Zoom meeting what your patients are blessed to receive from you every single day in your practice?
You know, Denise, every single day, what I do with my patients is I sit down with them to help them. I've got to help them retrace their steps. And many times they're absolutely shocked. And you know what they're shocked about? They're shocked because they're learning that their exposure to toxins is a significant common denominator to many, many of their wellness issues. And you know what? When they realize that they're retoxing every day, they then learn that the significance of needing to detox every single day is real. Detoxing every day is no longer an option, folks. You know, I teach my patients a very, very simple 10-second per day routine, and I'm going to share it with you right here. This way, you'll never go a day without supporting your body's chronic exposure to chronic environmental toxins. So, very simply, we consume 1 dropperful of ZOI ClearDrops every single morning in a 16-ounce glass of regular filtered water. Remember, forever chemicals need a forever solution. It's that simple, folks.
And you know what? Here's another quote from Dr. Nicholas that's my favorite. The whole battle is in the cell. Our health is only as good as the health of our cells. And if you don't fix the cell, you do not fix the human.
You know, Ginny, Dr. Nicholas is spot on. When we're optimizing our cellular wellness, that is the key to optimizing your overall wellness. Now, I love giving hope to people, and giving my patients hope and a proven solution is extremely rewarding. My patients begin to realize they are well on their way towards their greater wellness. Now, honestly, I feel that it is absolutely unethical to not provide this powerful proven solution called ZOI ClearDrops, because no one can escape this chronic environmental toxicity crisis in our world today.
Thank you, Lori, for being so willing to share the hope that you're able to offer your patients each and every day. So now it's time to pass the decision back to you. Friends, never forget, a breakthrough zeolite delivery system that is proven capable of crossing cellular membranes to support every product solution that we will offer at ZOI Global. And when I say proven, I mean proven. Proven via the same study that every drug must be proven to determine whether or not it can be absorbed. Our 3 patents will support our current and all future ZOI Global product formulations. Ask your ZOI advisor to provide our 3rd patent for you to read and you to learn. The 3rd patent is all-inclusive and includes everything from our 1st and our 2nd patent. And I truly believe that what you may learn in this incredible document may further educate you and offer you so much more hope. In less than 2 minutes, let's listen to what Dr. Nicholas Sirikos Karapanos would say as to why you should not wait to start taking ClearDrops. So, Dr. Nicholas, why would I wait to start ClearDrops? Why not tomorrow? Why not 2 weeks from now? Maybe why not 2 years from now? Today I'm 20, in 10 years I'm going to be 30. Why?
Because now that you are 20, you accumulated toxins for the last 20 years plus 9 months. Well, that's a lot of toxins. That's a good time to start ClearDrops now. Because let me tell you what's going to happen between today and 2 months down on the road. In 2 months down on the road, you will have accumulated toxins for 60 more days. In 2 years down on the road, you will accumulate toxins for 2 more years. And in 20 years down on the road, when you're going to be 40, you will have accumulated toxins for 40 years instead of 20 that you are today, plus 9 months. There's nothing you gain by retoxing every single day. There's nothing you gain by accumulating toxins. You start gaining something by start removing toxins. Today is the day. You start ClearDrops today, and you don't stop.